So, after the fight against Ares and everything has settled down, everyone kind of disperses in their own directions, probably to check on buildings, families, and loved ones. You see that while you and Alar kind of like stay behind while the others kind of disperse, and you see Nerul kind of like you see Nerul kind of like who appears to be talking to Thran, who's wrapped in a cloak of a similar design to Nerul's, as the two of them are just talking from what it looks like.
Alar is talking to this individual? I'm sorry.
Nerul's talking to Thran right now. Alar is Alar's next to you as you two notice that, basically.
I go to overhear the conversation.
Alright. And you can basically hear him just checking up on him, seeing how he feels now that there's someone else inside him. You see him kind of like tap Thrin's chest, and the conversation kind of goes like, "Trust me, you'll get used to it eventually." That's very reassuring of you. Considering how I've been going through it for the past year or so, you'll probably have to get used to it eventually. And you're fully there now? Yep. Everything. I remember everything now, so that's peachy. Well, at least you're back. Yes, in some shape or form. That's basically the way the conversation goes as you overhear
it. Well, I'd probably be within range for them to talk to me.
Mm-hmm. You got Nerul and Thwin kind of like turn towards you, and they say, and Nerul kind of looks around and says, kind of looks up. Thwin, actually, Nerul looks up at the tree and just kind of says, "Gonna have to move back. Gonna have to move that back to the old place."
Yes, I'd appreciate it if I got to live back at the house again.
He kind of looks at it. He kind of looks at it and then looks at Thwin, and Thwin kind of like summons his wooden staff, kind of like just sits on the ground. And Alar's kind of like staring up at the tree. He kind of says, and he kind of just comments, it is a bit of a hassle. It is a bit of a hassle walking from the tree to the castle every day.
What makes you say that?
Just the distance. I mean, I enjoy the walk, but it seems like all the other lions appear to be. It seems all the other lions appear to be might be moving into the castle eventually, depending on when it's finished. So, and since we can move it, we could move it to the castle, kind of make it the crown jewel of the keep.
Really?
Yes. Well, the Yggdrasil has a... Yes, I think it can, right? He looks over at Thwin. Yes. From what I know, Yggdrasil has a fascinating property of where it can weave around, well, anything the owner desires. So you technically weave around the castle and kind of just become one with it in a way and disperse at any time. Makes it easier to... Makes it to where it's kind of a really good add-on in case you wanted to add it, but easy to remove too.
Oh. Castle. Sorry, my brother was talking. So Castle Leowyn wouldn't be now known as the one with the tree in it, huh?
Mm-hmm. Alar kind of looks at you with a bit of a smile as he kind of like folds his arm. Would be a bit of a recognizable symbol now, wouldn't it?
I suppose that is true, yes. I don't think, I think a giant tree in the middle of the residential district at this point would be quite an eyesore.
Yeah, especially with the nobility moving in there. Eventually their houses will start being built up in certain ways, so Best to remove that from the equation now rather than later.
Very well.
Oh,
So we can fill it with new things, at least.
true. Then kind of like taps the staff again, and you see Yggdrasil kind of shrink back into the earth, and then you hear a rumbling from the nearby castle as you see it proceed to grow around the castle and kind of like form a bit of, and kind of like you see the tree itself kind of become a jewel, like become this crown on top of Castle Leowyn, and Alar kind of like looks at it. Nice. And he looks at Thwin. So is any of the furniture? Oh, all the furniture's fine.
The furniture's fine,
Yes.
she says.
Yes, this isn't the first. Yes, I remember when me, Nerul, and Alar first moved here, and the tree kind of popped up in that one spot, like 3 years ago. It wasn't like there was no furniture in it, or that we suddenly got furniture from somewhere else really quick. It was already in.
Yeah.
The tree can basically house all the furniture without damaging it, thankfully.
And it's safe to say that that is definitely on its way now.
He didn't look at Castle Leowyn.
Also safe to say that I think I finally acknowledged its presence.
Now you technically have to.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had a choice in that matter.
So, how many people? I'm guessing a lot of people brought it up, and you still didn't recognize it, or seek to recognize it anyway.
Just it's weird to think that a tree just sprouts out of nowhere and becomes so big it's a house. It's a lot to consider, but after everything that's happened recently, I don't think that a tree popping out in the middle of nowhere is that bad.
I mean, compared to giant crystals coming out of the ground and shooting out ancient beings, yeah, I'd say that's pretty normal at this point.
Whatever Ares did.
You talking about the gem thing, or the eternal thing, or when the crystals broke and everything?
The internal thing, the mind control, the giant moving battlefield flying in the sky.
All he did was
scoffs at it.
All he did was throw us into the sky at the very least.
Too much.
Could have teleported us underwater and had us fight there. Well, that would have been a hassle.
That'd been very concerning, yes.
The thing kind of says, "Oh, trust me, he thought about it." But then there's the issue of being able to barely move underwater because flying doesn't exactly work under there. That's right. Yeah.
I would imagine being down that low in the water might just kill you instantly.
You say that. Yet you're probably one of the most resilient people in this town at this point, and you have a wizard here who probably could have just whammied you guys to be able to breathe and survive that deep.
Yes, I suppose that's true.
Make it sound so simple. Is it not? Is it not that simple? Well, it takes a bit of effort.
I don't think there's anything truly simple about magic.
If there was, everybody would do it. As I can see that not everybody does it, I would assume that no, it's not that simple.
She smiles and nods.
The day everybody does it, though, that'll be a weird day. I assume we'll close down all the mages guilds. Because once the point that Nerul then chimes in, that'll get rid of a headache then.
Nerul, it's nice to see you around again.
Good to remember who I am again.
You mind telling me what happened with that?
Kaladin's words of jog some old memories back. Eventually, it all came flowing right back in. I suppose losing your memories doesn't really work that well.
A I'm sure Kaladin would have loved to hear it.
Most likely. I'm wondering how he knew to try that in the first place. Aloy kind of like pauses as he hears Newell say that. I have a couple of ideas how. Something to look into later. Well, at least you're back now. Yes. Well, mentally anyway.
And where to from here, Nehru?
Might spend some time in Leowyn just to make sure everything rebuilds well. And after that, it's back to the corridors of shadows. Have to look over some matters for the Raven Queen. Still. Yes, I can't just stop serving her. Would you? Touché.
I'm sure one day something will be done about it.
I'm sure there'll be a lull period where I can pop in here and there. I literally have all the time in the world.
Until then, she'll go and try to hold Aloy's hand.
Aloy will allow it.
I'm sure there are things he should be doing.
Yes, it'd probably be best to check on the town and make sure everyone's all right, and to check to make sure our home's all right.
I would offer to give Thrin and Nehru a hug, but she's not the hugging type.
Aloy kind of Aloy will look at them and say, "What will you two do?" Well, we may as well join you. Though I think Thrin will have to stay out of sight a little bit, since people might still confuse his face with Ares. Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
A bit of disguising.
Thrin kind of like thinks about it, and you don't see him cast a spell, but you do see his appearance kind of shift. He still looks like he still reminds you of Thrin, with the whole fail thing, but he does look kind of different.
Well, there you go. It's as if you're a new Thrin.
Aloy then says, Thrin kind of nods, and Aloy then says, "Well, we'd best be going then." Yes, let's make sure. Yes, let's see how much of Leowyn happened to get burned down. Could we not? Fine. Anything else you'd like to do, or?
There's nothing on my current ideas or basis that can't be done without anyone else. Like the war table thing. The rest would probably just be boring politics and catching up with other people. Helping with the town, which I don't think requires too much focus.
No, not really.
Or at least not individual focus.
Yeah, that'll probably be more of a background thing, because let's be honest, not that much. From what you can tell with your searching with Aloy, not that much got damaged, because the guards and stuff were able to keep a hold on the enraged population, which there wasn't that many of. There were quite a few casualties, which will be dealt with at a later point, but yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, there's not too much bureaucratic stuff to be done. I guess I could potentially do that individually, but I'm sure you'd like to do that with the party.
Bureaucratic stuff.
And in terms of individual seriousness, there isn't much. He's not meant to be that way.
Bureaucratic stuff such as...
Oh, like the city planning and dealing with repairs and what to build and what not to build.
True. All right. We'll pause it.
No,
Okay,
being
so
done.
Norm.
Mm-hmm.
So because of
I'll mute myself.
so I basically said this with citizen and stuff, but basically you guys kind of disperse after the fight and everything, try to pick up the pieces of what's going on and try to see how the town is doing and stuff. You head back to the alchemy shop, I assume.
Yeah.
All right, you head back there as you head back there at night. The place is still left standing. You see Zarn kind of just hanging out at the tiefling guy kind of hanging out outside the alchemy shop. He appears to be sitting on a chair that you assume he pulled over there.
Okay. Wait. Who's Zarn again?
Tiefling swordsman.
Have I talked with him before?
You've never talked with him. You've just seen him before. You did help.
Okay.
You did help him in that fight against Takeshi, Atan, and them, but you've never really spoken to him directly as much.
Okay. I go up to him and I'm like, oh, hello.
He kind of like looks at me and says, "Oh, hey, you're Terrence, correct?"
Indeed, that's me.
How'd the
Big fight, huh?
Yeah? How'd the fight against Ares go?
Well, one of us died, basically.
Oh,
It wasn't easy,
which one?
but it was DM.
Ah, you see him kind of like nod slightly. Huh. Well, guess the guards are gonna have to deal with quite a bit of celebrations. Gonna have to deal with quite a few people drunkenly celebrating then.
Wait, can you say that again? I didn't hear that.
He says, guess the guards are gonna have to deal with quite a few people drunkenly celebrating then.
Oh, I suppose so.
For Zarn kind of says, I hung out at the tavern a lot. A lot of people who were there that drank didn't exactly speak highly of him.
Yeah, I got that. So are you injured or anything? Do you need something?
Nah, just sitting out here. Kind of wanted to. Didn't feel like going to the tavern, but I can keep an eye on it from over here. He says as the tavern is directly across from your building.
Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna head in then kinda awkwardly open the door
He nods.
and get in.
You head in and you see that the place is kind of cleaned up. As you see, sorry, I remember. I'm trying to remember the other guy's name.
Nura.
Yeah, Nura. You see, Gosh and Nura kind of just hanging out in the I guess shop area, kind of just sitting and waiting around. Oh,
Oh,
you're
hi,
back.
Trevor.
Oh, hey, Trevor. Oh,
he probably can't speak.
true. He got Grimbosh and Nura notice you. Oh, back. Hey, welcome back. How'd that big fight go?
It was big. I'm sorry. I don't think I want to talk much about it right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
I see you guys are fine though. That's good.
Yeah. Didn't take much to clean up the shop. It was actually pretty easy, to be honest. That's because you mainly made me sweep and stuff. Well, you are the guy with it that can do more physical labor than me. Uh-huh.
God, I missed you guys.
Big group hug.
Oh, that's very wholesome. Damn. So did anything eventful happen? Did anyone come by or?
Oh, that devil folk guy's been sitting outside, basically. Nothing. Besides that, we went over to drop off some stuff at the herbalist shop. But other than that, not much.
Okay. That's good. That nothing bad has happened. You know.
Mm-hmm. We saw a tree pop up. We saw a tree pop up in the castle.
Oh, the tree is back.
Yeah, and
this is off character.
yeah, it's been moved to the castle now. It's kind of just sitting on top of the castle. It's kind of like a jewel, as a crown in a way.
Interesting. That makes our town kind of unique, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't in character.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I also saw that. I just hope it doesn't like mess with the foundations or some shit.
Well.
It's probably gonna be fine.
Yeah, magic's weird anyway. Plus, I assume one of those druid guys does it, and it seems like they know what they're doing. From what you say when you talk about him anyway.
Yeah, they do. Kind of scary sometimes, to be honest. Okay, I am not quite sure what I'm supposed to do right now. This is in character.
No. Well, it's been you came back after a big fight. Maybe you should relax and stuff. Maybe sit down.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then you can like show me whatever new potions you've discovered.
You see Nura immediately.
I know you did.
You see Nura immediately grab a scrapbook. A scrapbook. I guess a sketchbook of just like and he just starts rummaging through all of them, showing all the different potions he made. As you're looking over them, you gotta see some of the ingredients in here, and you're just kind of like mentally telling yourself, "Yeah, we're not making that."
Well, oh, he's showing it to us.
Yeah, he's showing it to you. No, this is for Terrence only because he's back at the alchemy shop.
Oh, Trevor speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was typing.
Where is it? Is it in the VC chat? Okay.
Yeah, VC
chat. Well, you get a +1 for creativity, I suppose.
Please tell me you're not going to make some of these. Grimbosh kind of just whispers to you.
We're not gonna make all of these. Don't worry.
Thank goodness. I don't think my fur can take much more.
And we're not gonna test any more potions in Greenbush, please. This is the new store policy.
Okay. Goodness.
We have plenty of objects to test them on.
Ragus silently screaming in the background.
It was screaming from the north.
Just hear screaming from the fucking north. I could still hear him.
Okay. Wait. We live here, right? Like my bed is here.
Have you moved to the castle or no? Because the castle's built enough to where the castle's built up to where there's now a room for all of you guys to live there. I know most of the party has. I know some of the party has moved in. I didn't know if you did or not because I know you had a house already.
Yeah, I don't think I would, like, not right now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna head off to sleep. It's been a long day. I can tell you about the fight later.
You kind of just nod. All right, sleep well.
All right, you guys don't blow up anything.
I won't. He stares at Nira. Oh, I won't.
I know you won't. I trust you. Okay, I'm going to sleep now.
Okay. And then you kind of just slowly make your way upstairs as the entire day just starts to drain on you now, and you're just kind of like walking up the stairs. You see your bed; it looks so comfortable, and you just flop face down in it.
Yes, I do flop because I'm a rabbit.
And you just drop right. You're just like, oh.
Yes. And that'll be it for now.
Okay. Alum.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Okay, so you're walking.
Cool.
So you're
Yes,
walking
you are.
through town, and so you're walking through town, and basically, I assume that you're checking on the damages to the place.
Yes, I think I would be doing some kind of a diagnostic of the defenses of the city in comparison before and after, with a focus on the infrastructure that would be necessary for like sustainment, like within the immediate aftermath of the battle, in terms of like, medical care, emergency food supplies, that kind of thing.
So you're kind of just near the apothecary, and you kind of go to check on it and that stuff, and as you're close, and you get close by to it, you see you're walking past the alchemy shop, which appears to be turning off its lights for now, and that's when you hear, you're his kid, right? And you see, you never met him, but you have heard of him. This Zarn is sitting out front. Illum's never met him, but you have heard about him, considering that he's the only tiefling, whatever, you've never, well, out of character, he's a tiefling, but in character, you've heard people allude to him as a devil folk, basically, at best.
Right. So kind of the, would we have some kind of, this is kind of like out of character asking, but would there be some kind of, like, in terms of like role playing for like an Asimar just going forward, is there some kind of like natural animosity between the two, or is that more of the character is able to decide, like, within the circumstance? Okay, cool.
But yeah.
So I will go in with an open mind in that case.
Alright.
Cool.
And yeah, you see him kind of just sitting in a chair at the front of the alchemy shop. You see a sword in its scabbard, kind of just leaning against his chair. And yeah, he asks you, so you're his kid, right?
I am the son of Dion Kathasai, the defender of this place, and, well, of many things, to be sure, but yes, I am his offspring. Who might you be?
Name Zarn.
Interesting. I've heard a bit about you, but it's an honor and a privilege to finally meet you. Did you happen to know my father?
Not personally. I have heard. I ran into the first time that I met the Lions. He was one of the ones I ran into, but never spoke to him myself. Though I have heard about him.
He was a man of many principles, but I am sure that if you did meet him, then those would probably have conveyed through his behavior, one would presume.
It depends, I suppose, on the point of view on that.
It's a fair assessment. So, why is that you wish to speak to me, good sir? Do you wish of something of me that my father would have been capable of? Is that why you referenced my heritage, of which I take great pride in, seeing as though my father has accomplished much, both in this place and beyond, in behalf of the standard of living of many of the common folk, but not all, as I will wish to attend to carry on his works.
As you finish that, you hear him mutter, "Jesus Christ, you talk as much as he does." No, I was checking to make sure. I was checking in to make sure you're all right. I've seen quite a few kids lose their parents over the years, and I'm checking. And I was checking to make sure you're all right. But you seem to be just. It seems like I was talking to Dion too right now.
Well, I would, as sad as his death makes me, I know that the last thing he would want me to do is focus upon his death instead of the endangerment of many of the people that he wished to protect now in his absence. So,
Really, not even.
As much as I would like to take a break to mourn, I must push forward to honor the memory of the father that both gave me life and helped protect the lives of those that I will now live alongside and hopefully be able to aid as well.
Keep moving like that. Eventually, you're gonna break if you don't.
I appreciate the advice and the concern, but nothing will break me before I'm able to accomplish my mission for which I have been placed upon this plane.
As you walk past him with that, he kind of just says, "Tougher men than you have said the same exact thing."
Well, let me try and live up to their example, as my father did. And then I guess I would just walk past with a nod of respect and appreciation for his concern.
I shake his head a little bit. How old are you?
And I am 18. Is that correct?
From what I remember, yeah. By whenever Illum's birthday is, he should be 18 years old.
I'm of 18 years of age.
Jesus, tap dancing, Christ. Yeah,
I am old enough to accomplish anything that you may require.
Yeah.
If that is why you wish to speak to me.
Yeah, I got that. Alright. Well, alright. You then kind of just waves you off. And you see him pick up his sword and he starts walking in the opposite direction. And yet the last thing you hear is him saying, "Just like that, the kids pick up where their parents leave off."
An honorable sentiment, to be sure.
That. Alright, that'll be a good stop. Alright, so, so, seriously, at some point you do see the other lords from across the southern Hanak kind of just talking amongst themselves. You see Gren with his maul, which appears to be bloody. You don't see him being injured, so you assume that he got into a fair scrap himself. But you see that the other lords are basically unharmed. Alar's with you, and they kind of just notice you all and walk over. And here we go again. You hear Alar mutter.
Here we go again. What do you mean by that?
Before he can answer, the other lord show up and Gren kind of says, "Well, that was a right good fight. Again, didn't know you had a show for a plan." He's looking between the two of you.
Oh?
Yeah, that whole town going crazy thing. Though I made sure not to kill anybody since they are your townspeople, but I did get a few hits in. He says with a bit of a grin on his face. So what was all that about?
What was all what about?
The whole people going angry and crazy thing.
And we're trying to figure that out ourselves.
Well, hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully it's nothing that will cause future trouble for us. Count Nilura asks. He looks at you, Susan.
I don't believe that will be an issue that will repeat itself.
That's good. And you see, who was he? I think the other one was who was it? Jiro. It was Nilua, Gren, Jiro, and I think there was a fourth one. And there was a fourth one. Who was it? Would you have to remember who the fourth one was, Car?
I don't remember.
Okay, give me a second. I just... Okay. What was there? God, I know it's so long.
What'd you say?
I said my notes are so long that it takes a little to load all of them.
I have Gran, Giro. What was the other two?
Nilua, and I can't remember the fourth one.
Those are the three of current immediate importance, no?
Okay. Fine. Then I'll just have it just be that then. Alright. Jiro kind of looks at you and says, you all dealt with that rather handily. Whatever the issue was. Your guards were quick to deal with the situation as well. My props to you.
Yes, we handled the situation quite efficiently, I'd imagine.
Nilua might not be wrong about you all being good to deal with. Might not be wrong about being good to deal with Unagula then.
Yeah. I suppose we should probably talk about that as soon as these reparation procedures are over.
Yes, that'd be rather good. Though I assume, though I'm not sure whether they'd like to speak to you more, whether we'd like to speak to you more, or Aldwin, considering since both of you seem to be the main players in that group of yours when it came to talking to us politically.
You could. Who would you prefer to speak to?
Well, you're here now. Oh yes, it's always good to get that out the way then, wouldn't it? I wouldn't want to interrupt your war planning or anything. You say, the Queen says as she kind of like flies down.
The Queen?
Remember she was there? She helped you all fight against... Well, she helped you guys fight against Avery beforehand. Yeah. She was visiting the castle just to relax with her.
Nothing is set entirely in stone, milady.
Oh, no, it's fine. I expect... you see the counts all kind of like bow, like kneel before, and she kind of like press for them to stand up. No, it's fine. I'm used to this at this point. The same is going on in the north as the lords quabble over what lands they can grab that hasn't been covered by ash. So, or even the ones that have been covered by ash, since they don't seem to be rather picky.
Ash feeds for a better crop yield.
Yes, that is true indeed. So. What were the current plans exactly? Alar kind of like pauses for a moment, and then you see him like weave his hands into a spell, and a glow comes over the area around you, and the count's kind of look at him and says, "For protection, just in case anyone's eavesdropping." Continue.
I don't know, lords, ladies. What was our plan here?
Well, we wanted to go after the Halog. The Flame Theocracy. Yes, that one. The one that's been a thorn in our side for rather some time. Why that one in particular? Well, the Flame Guard that came and attacked Leowyn. Wait, the Flame Guard came and attacked Leowyn? She looks at her father. It's a whole thing, don't ask. Yes, the Flame Guard came to attack Leowyn, and we think it'd be best to deal with that outright instead of letting them continue to fester in our lands. Well, you can see why. That also offers us a gateway to the west, and potentially access to the mountains that Halog has access to, or the ones that are in trouble at this point. What do you all hope to get out of it? Land, good fight. The Queen then looks at you.
What good fight, land? What were you expecting to say?
Just checking to see what everyone's getting out of this for the most part.
It's best if I keep my card under the table.
And then she kind of just says, I guess a league of influence is forming in the south as well as the north. Then soon enough I'll be dealing with vying factions. I'm already dealing with vying factions enough as it is. Now I'll have to deal with two more. Deal as in mainly having to speak to them diplomatic and like. I'm not that type of ruler. Just checking. You see that Alar was the one that was asking his daughter that. My spot in the capital, I'm surrounded by politicking imbeciles that mainly want to gain my favor, and two cities on either side of me that I recently conquered. Not exactly a good spot strategically.
Hello, whoever joined. Probably Norm.
Yeah, sorry. My connection.
You're fine.
Continue.
Alar kind of says, well, considering that the southern lords have been more amicable than the northern lords and the western ones, I assume, you could always form a bit of a power base here. How would I do that exactly? Well, I mean, there have been monarchs that have formed manors away from the actual capital and have ruled there instead. So I've just been one of the most populous cities in Hanak and proceed to move into a large palace of my own. Well, it would basically form into its own city eventually. So I'd be right back where I was. Well, yes, but you'd be in a place where now you have actual power behind you, power to deal with. Mainly us, anyway, I would think, at this point.
It'd also be wiser to just choose a more centralized location.
Well, if I do move further south, that will be more centralized. I won't be stuck between the former lands of Aim and Is, so that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you already have an idea then. Yes, I'd rather think I would. So.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. Then Neilor says, but on the table before, and you were going to offer us. You were planning on offering us military aid. From what I remember, to aid in that fact. But it seems that your general is a bit busy. Oh, right. Alar, you see Alar kind of like realize how this kind of affects your situation.
Don't worry, we had a vice general in place for this sort of thing.
Alar kind of leans in. We did.
She'll nod.
Alar will then just act like he was backing up the entire time, and they'll say, "Oh, okay then." So is Circe like lying, or is she straight up saying she had a vice?
Oh yeah, she's totally lying.
You know what? I will say, I will have you roll deception, but I will say that it will probably be with advantage, just because you are rather.
That's pretty smooth, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was actually like, wait, are you actually fitting or no? So let me just. So public roll.
The art of the deal. Oh, do I gotta roll in Foundry?
I did for you. You got a nat 20, 21. So yeah, they absolutely believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor out of character. No, they don't have a general in mind yet. Anyway, so with that, I just nod. Well, since it is currently the winter, second month, I think it would be best for us to begin marching by, say, the 4th month.
I'll have reparations and preparations by then.
Wonderful. we can finally deal with Halug once for all, and then set our sights elsewhere. Though we might.
Write that down! Someone write that down!
What would you like me to write down?
When we gonna move our forces into where?
There you go. Anyway, so yeah, with that, then you kind of like hash out some further details with the lords, mainly about what you'll be getting out of it. What is Citizen aiming for with this? What is she out of character? What is she hoping to get out of the eventual war and stuff? Currently you'll be claiming a lot of the Clemanyard River, and you'll be getting the city of Unagula, which town of Unagula. While it is damaged, you'll probably be dealing with repairs for that and stuff. But is there anything else that Citizen's aiming for?
Nothing in particular right now. Expansion to vie for more power and leverage against other lords in the current nation. So,
Right.
I mean, typical politics stuff. She really wasn't lying about that.
Trevor did mention naval trade rights. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
That's fine. Anything that improves our current lordship and situation is probably for the best.
Mm-hmm. You see Alar kind of like sewing up a quill and stuff as he's writing all this stuff down. And then afterwards, the lords kind of just leave and stuff. And Alar says, "I'm beginning to." And Alar kind of looks at you. You know, the diplomat role was much better for you than you think.
What makes you say that?
Well, for reference to that, even as a ruler myself, I always did hate that side of the job sometimes.
What?
Though I was the only one who ever. Since I had no chief ambassador myself, I had to do it anyway. Probably.
She smiles.
Probably explains a lot, actually. You've made an art out of it in these 3 short years.
I was used to it back in the day.
Oh yes. From what I remember of my time in Aether, I was heard that the Tickle Isle was home to a hotbed of politics.
Yes. Every house you go into is a whole new world of politics.
Where I came from, the politicking kind of just died down eventually. On the mainland of Aether, the wars eventually just started dulling at some point.
Yes, Trevor. Mineral and natural resources as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I want to start being a bit heavier on the military, which requires a solid general. So let's go do with that.
Right now?
I don't think we can deal with it right now. We need a majority party.
Yeah. But yeah. So Alar kind of just nods and says, "If I had you back in my empire, things might have gone much more smoothly."
Really? I'd say things are pretty smooth right now.
True. Though this isn't my empire, thankfully.
No, I do believe it's your daughter's.
Kingdom, technically. We'll see how long that lasts. Oh, and then you see Elu kind of just sighs for a moment before she says, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go relax in the castle. Probably let my poor horse recover. So you all have fun. Don't stay out too late." You see her give a bit of a smoke as she leaves, and Alar kind of says, "Wipe the smoke off."
You seem to be having a lot of fun.
Well, I get to do a lot of writing. So he then proceeds to motion to the quill before he makes it disappear. We really need to have the scriveners. We really need to have the scrivener's office draft up legal documents instead of having members of the court doing it at this point. It'd be much more efficient, I think.
Let me clean up. I have a suggestion.
What that?
I think our next meeting should be a bit more casual. A nice big dinner with the family of oh god, I don't know what Alar's fucking last name is.
Daenerys.
With the family, the Daenerys family, Thrin, Naerul, and all of our council, having our meeting then.
Sounds good to me.
I think we're all a bit stiff and need a bit of relaxation for once.
Oh, I could definitely do with that.
And I'll go to the castle to make that preparation and scene.
That's just gonna.
Right now.
Okay, so setting back up then. As I said before, in the other instances, you disperse the party decides to disperse and head their separate ways. Alden, what do you decide to do? At some point, you do see Yggdrasil, the great tree, kind of suck into the ground and then proceed to appear around and on top of the castle. So you assume that they moved Alar's home and tree to the top of the castle now.
Alden will probably just grunt in recognition of that. And then, what is it? Well, I no longer have the highest house in the kingdom now, or in this part of town now.
Definitely you do, but...
It's not my bedroom.
Noted.
He'll, how well grown is this new Yggdrasil?
Oh, it's the same tree, just moved.
Oh, alright.
You see that it's weaving into the castle well, so that way it kind of melds together instead of being like this weird thing that's just sat on top of it.
Okay. I'll have to make a note to talk with Alar to get some gardeners to help keep the tree well groomed.
Makes sense.
And also to hire a leaf raking force to... Oh, give me a second.
Okay. Let me pause. Okay, so what were we saying?
Alden will talk aloud and say, well, leaf raking and leaf collecting might be a drill for the guard now. Especially with a tree with that many leaves.
Gonna have to talk to Tate about that one.
But that'll be another time and another day. He'll mumble to himself.
So where to?
I'm assuming this is shortly after the Ares event.
Yeah, everyone kind of just realized that the battle was over and that they had done their things there, so they went to check on the town and everything. Well, everyone except Alar, Sirius, and Nerul and Thwen, they stayed at the tree.
Okay. Alden will be, he'll make a circuit through the town, making sure, partially to, partially to gauge the actual damage of the town, but also to make sure that, as people are coming back in, everyone's safe, everyone is calm about this whole thing.
Yeah, for the most part, from what you can tell, structurally the town seems to be fine for the most part. There was some damages from Yggdrasil and some townspeople rioting, but that will be dealt with time. There were quite a few casualties, mainly civilian deaths from trying to calm down the enraged populace.
He'll Someone tells me Alduin's alone, so
Yeah,
he'll pull out his notepad that he carries around, and he'll write out pardons for mind-controlled people.
And
then also write out next season, next month's salary towards resurrections.
Yeah. Additionally, from what it seems like, the guards were able to keep were able to quickly keep things under wraps. You know that Elian and what's that name? I can't remember its name. Elian and Penal. Yeah, Penal and Elian were able to kind of like do some flyovers, see where there were issues, and basically direct people towards where they had to go. So that was good. Leonardo, Greo, and the other knights that weren't taken by Ares were able to do some help. Were able to help as well. So for the most part, any damage the damage that was done could have been worse, but thankfully it wasn't.
Okay.
Also, everyone make sure to head on to Foundry, please.
Alright then. Oh, connections private. Yeah, I want to go. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm going to find the link.
It's pinned in general chat.
Thank you. Alright then he'll what is it? Then he'll seeing the town is everything's localized and at least everyone is okay. Maybe a little bit worse for wear, or hell, even not doing so well. He'll as he encounters the knights, he'll tell them that what is it? That later in the evening, or when evening comes to, what is it? When evening comes to meet at his treehouse.
He hasn't moved into the castle yet, or is he saving that until it's done?
He would rather save it till it's done, and he feels like there'll be a little bit too much pomp and circumstance if to have a night meeting after all this.
Okay.
This is the best time to have the night meeting. Please have the night meeting. Leowyn is ready.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. Well. All right.
Anyway, so basically, you kind of just tell them, and they'll nod, and they'll meet up, and they'll be sure to meet up with you at your treehouse. Anything else in particular you want to do?
Okay. Where is Alar?
By this point, okay, assuming that everything went down, Alar's probably traveling back to the castle with Searson and them.
Okay. Yeah, he has people around him, so he won't check in on him.
All right. You did while you are walking along, you did hear rumors that there appeared to be a pink-haired woman that was helping at the local apothecary treat people.
A certain pink-haired person. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, he's gonna make a beeline there.
You arrive at the apothecary run by the Greenwoods, and you see Mara Greenwood, who appears to be making more salves. She can barely pay attention to you as she kind of like just gives you a slight nod before she goes to feed some patients. And you see Corey kind of like checking on those that aren't as grievously injured. You see that her hands are kind of like caked in dried blood a little bit, but she appears to be no worse for wear. It doesn't seem to be her blood, so she doesn't appear to be any worse for wear.
Okay. Aldwin will he'll come over to her. He won't sneak up on her.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he'll at least for her, he'll make it a little bit noticeable, his presence, and like, clip himself on a chair or a table that doesn't have anything important on it or anyone in it, seating in it.
She'll turn to look at you and kind of pat whoever on the head, whoever she was treating before she walks over. Like she kind of hesitates first with her bloody hands, but then she just gives you a hug anyway.
Aldwin will give her a big old bear hug and hold her there for a little bit.
Oh, thank goodness you're all right.
And it's good to see that you are completely fine.
Yeah. The house wasn't anywhere near the danger, but considering what I was seeing outside, I thought it'd be best to help, and I came here.
He'll nod. Good. And you know I care very little for that tree house anyway, so if anything happened to it, I wouldn't care much. I wouldn't care at all.
Yes, I know.
Unless for you.
I know you're looking very much to moving into Council of Leowyn once it's done.
Yes, indeed.
How are things? Is all the lions all right?
From what I can tell, they are.
-1 out of character.
Yes.
I said it out of character. Like.
I know. I don't want to say he.
Hey, Roxy.
Hello.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here.
You're good. Does he bring up the fact that Dion passed away, or?
He'll say quietly to Cora that he'll say it quietly since others are around, but he'll quietly say that Dion fell in the fight.
Oh, I'm so sorry. She says as she kind of like looks at you. Are you all right? Or
I didn't. I was more banged up about the stuff that occurred before it happened. We didn't necessarily hang out or do a whole lot outside of our official duties, but he will be missed.
I'm sure. Didn't he have a son?
Yes, he does. Whole reason why his wife, widow now, isn't it? Yeah, widow. Those are the main reasons why he laid it all out.
Well,
so to speak.
Have to make sure to look after him then to make sure he's all right.
Yes. She sees him, she'll see him like fish around in his pockets for his notebook, and he starts flipping through it. I know legally his son has the right to become the High Judge if he wants to.
Well, that has to be approved by the Council of Affairs and everything.
That won't be too hard.
If you know your friends that well, but keep in mind the others on there.
But last I checked, there were a couple of other positions there was another position that opened up
Not yet.
So
I know which one you're talking about. Not yet.
yeah, or then let me rephrase it. I sense that after this, there'll be a little bit more movement in council chairs.
Well, that'll be an interesting set of affairs.
And also, with an event like this, and seeing how the knights were able to help with all of this, it would not surprise me within the next couple of weeks that I'll have to hold admissions for the Jade Knights, an admission event. So
at most this will be a good PR spin for the Lions as a whole with the town.
he'll nod. As much as I don't like using a tragic event like this to boost popularity, it's going to happen regardless once word gets around what we've done.
I think you need the goodwill at this point. No offense.
He nods his head. Yeah. Though I am partially concerned what I am concerned how the other lords see this current predicament, because it happened while they were here.
From what I gather, they appear. From what I've heard from some gossip, they probably well. She won't know this, so yeah. I guess you'll find out from Circe and one of them if they've spoken to them.
Yes, indeed. Though, something tells me if the Lord saw have any negative ill will against us, Searson would have straightened them out quickly.
Oh, I'm sure.
Can I say this? Can I say this? To be honest with you.
Go right ahead.
As much as the analytical and code-driven, as much of an analytical and code-driven person Searson is, she is probably the best person to have around with this whole thing.
The diplomatic edge does seem to suit her with her intelligence and the like.
Indeed.
Though with the way all of you are, with the way all of you are, there's less wood and more Council of Leowyn.
I trust them all to
do their best.
I basically give all of them
to do their best.
Do their best, and I know they won't do anything to harm themselves or harm the town or harm their position, so they have a extremely long leash that they can run around on.
I don't think that's a leash anymore, or if it ever was.
Oh no, they're he'll just laugh. No, there never was a leash with all of them. In fact, half of them could kick my butt if they chose to and run circles around me.
Alright. Yeah, that just depends on the situation.
He'll shrug. Also, I did not mean for you to be the last person to be aware of this, but the Knights are coming over tonight for a meeting. So.
Alright, noted.
I just want to sit down and talk with them about what has occurred these past 24 hours.
Makes sense.
Get their thoughts on some things and make a couple of administrative or groundwork things for the order moving forward.
All right.
Though, are you okay with having the nights over?
I'm fine with it, yeah. I'll probably be here for a while longer helping out, so.
Okay, I'm back, boys.
Good. Everyone, for those of you on your computer, make sure to go into Foundry and stuff. I know 2 of you already are, so.
He'll nod. And he'll look down at her, the blade, her bloodied hands. He'll dig around. These probably won't fit you, but with a bit of string, you can tighten them up, and he'll pull out his hunting gloves and hand them to her.
Thank you.
No problem. And should I even pop this question right now with you?
And what question would that be?
He'll look down at the wedding ring that she made so many sessions ago. I know I've been super busy with everything going on in my end of things, but when do you want to tie the knot?
Doesn't have to be a big thing, but doesn't have to be a big thing, but maybe in the summer, just to, that is my title after all.
And it'll be so.
Looking forward to it, Sir Aldwin. She says, kind of just nudging you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4:50.
Oh, you getting that date written down?
No. I was tiling up gold for something. I do know that that your wedding will be in the month. If it's in the beginning of the summer, it'll be in the month of Talsa. Which, by the way, I like to mention. Which I'll bring that up later, actually. Anyway.
Autumn will be milling on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that would give time for invitations to be sent out and give ample time for travel preparations to be made for people who have to come here.
That'll be fun. Well, they'll all be coming from the capital, so it'll be basically the same preparations, just having to deal with that many people.
True, and Port City and all it'll be easy. Yada yada yada.
But we can deal with that later. Go. You have a meeting to do.
I imagine she basically grabs him on the opposite corner. His opposite. He spins him. She spun him around and pushed him out.
Yeah, she kind of just nudged him like, go.
He'll Alden will make one of my noises and displeasure being pushed away. Then he'll head on.
Right. Do you think? I kind of want to get this session kit started since we have enough people. So you want to basically just give a synopsis of what you want to talk about in the meeting?
Yeah. Yes. In essence, the whole thing that Aldwin will want to speak to all the knights about is because Ares basically got under everyone's skin because of the hate and anger welling in them, or that's embedded in them. In essence, for the future, to that in the future that Jade Knight members and whatnot will need to make sure that we'll need to prevent that. If they have any bitterness or hate towards someone or a group, they'll need to resolve it and come to peace with it. But also, if anything is really eating away at them, like a past event or a something traumatic, then then they will need to then fellow knights can be called upon to support them and someone to talk to.
They all kind of nod in agreement. You see a couple of them checking on Leonardo and Castiel, since they were both worse, since they were technically the ones that took the brunt of it. Besides you, but they appear to be fine. Fenris appears to be strangely absent, though. Soon after the Druid Knight. You remember that she had a particular fascination with Thrin.
At the end of the meeting, he will ask, where do they think she is located?
She's probably checking on the Thrin boy. You hear Galahad kind of say as he thinks about it. She did seem like she would wish to speak to him heavily back in his possessed state, and he brushed her off. So
then they're probably somewhere beyond. They're probably hidden somewhere then.
Best to leave them be for now and have their little conversation, whatever it could be.
He'll openly say this to everyone. When you see our fair druid, tell her I would like to speak with her, and he'll say it in a tone of, she's not in trouble at all.
They kind of all nod in agreement.
But he just wants to check in on her himself. Or make sure everything is good on her end. So anything else he would say? He'll tell him next week there'll be another meeting to discuss plans in the future.
All right. Anything else you got?
Nope. I am now scraping the barrel.
Okay. So now we can officially begin the session. I guess technically officially. Let me just get this. Where is? There you are. There you are. So last time on an Imperial Mandate. No, I'm joking. I'm not gonna fucking do that. Anyway, so last time, as said before, you guys fought against Ares. You beat him thanks to the help of Alar, Nerul, and the Queen Elu. But unfortunately, as a result of the battle, you unfortunately lost Dion as a disintegration spell was cast on him, and his life was lost, and his life was lost. And since there's no bodily remains of him, there's no way to resurrect him in ways that you can normally achieve. As a result, you all disperse for the night, each going your separate ways. Some of you going to check on the town, others to simply be with friends and family and the like and check to make sure that they're all right. And the next day, on the 18th of Atro in the year 503 since the fall, there is a funeral held for the lost in Ares' attack. Does anyone have any feelings as they head to the funeral and the like? Don't all speak up at once.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I was getting ready to say, well, I guess Teet's a little sad that his well, would Dion technically be his partner? They did work together on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're
So
professional partner.
yeah, so he would kind of be a little down.
Tate kind of. Oh wait, no, not Tate. Whitney kind of
Tate?
like just kind of takes Tate's hand and like holds onto him to support him and everything.
Thanks, babe.
No problem, honey bunch.
Aldwin?
This wouldn't be the first time he's lost a comrade in a fight. He'll be somber.
Mm-hmm.
But he won't draw any attention to himself or anything. He'll just he'll kind of look a little stoic today. Just milling over everything.
Yeah. And you, Searson?
Unless words are needed, I will remain at peace with the situation and the somberness of it.
All right. There are quite a few speeches given throughout the funeral, and for the most part, everyone gives these nice speeches about some of the people that were lost. Does anyone have anything they want to say about Dion, like give a speech or anything?
Loom will briefly say that Dion's dream will live on as long as those he died to protect will continue to do the same that will come after them.
Okay.
But you can tell that he says that with confidence, but in terms of conveyed confidence, but his fist is clenched as though, to those that are observant, he's kind of like saying the words through gritted teeth, if that makes sense in terms of how it would come off to one paying attention to the manner in which it's delivered.
Is he trying to hide it?
I would say so, more than likely. He would wish to come off as, stoic and proud of the sacrifice that his father made, even if it did make him upset.
All right. If anyone wants to see how Dion how Loom's truly feeling, I'm gonna have to get used to that now. Please roll me an insight check.
Yeah, give me a second. Okay, where am I? There. I'll roll insight.
All right. Jason, would you like to roll insight as well, or no? You can also use investigation, because I believe that you unlocked a class ability that lets you use either insight or investigation for figuring out people's emotional state. Okay, so Aldwin and Tate, you two don't really notice anything wrong with Loom for the most part. However, Searson and Whitney, you two are keyed into the fact that, yeah, he's taken his father's death a bit hard.
Hmm. I kinda. I kind of, I walk up to a loom and, like, tug it like his, tux or whatever, because I'm assuming it's, like, like funeral wear.
Mm-hmm.
And, like gesturing for him to, like, bend down so I can give him a hug.
Loom, do you accept the hug? Oh, he's typing, okay.
Loom would turn and I'm trying to think of the best word in which to concisely. I would say he solemnly accepts the hug in that he appreciates the empathy for which is being displayed, but it doesn't exactly cure the pain within his soul, if that makes sense. Like it warms him to see another cared for his father, but it also like saddens him further to see that his loss affects others as it does himself. So kind of like it deepens the feeling, I would say, in both ways.
Oh, okay.
Just from how I would perceive it.
So you feel him kind of stiffen up a little bit, but he does accept the hug.
And I kind of just, like, rub calming, soothing circles into his back with my little baby paws.
And would anyone else like to say something about give a speech or the like, or?
Aldwin will likely give a short speech.
What does he say?
Working off the top of my head right now, but he'll say that despite anything, any sort of issues that Dion might have, or any flaws he carried around on him, he did wear everything on his sleeve, so to speak. He didn't hide anything from anyone. And ultimately, he likely had some very good intentions he wanted to pursue. That's all he'll say.
All right. Anyone else?
Fuck, I am muted. I guess. I'll see some work come up. have some hastily scribbled notes. And by hastily scribbled, I mean they're really fine, well-worded pages.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first time I met Dion, it was very much in like it's a weird situation. He was talking to this our now what is it, the mage guy, who's in charge of our mage things. Fuck.
Virno.
Yes, I know it's Virno. I'm just, what is his title in our government?
Magister.
Oh yes, our Magister. Thank you. He was talking to our now Magister and having quite the fruitful argument. I had to come in and settle some things down with it, and it really was at that moment where I got to really take a hold of who Dion was, and how he was very willing to fight for what he knew was right, despite the world around him being, well, hostile towards his thoughts, his speaking, his mannerisms. This world, Acria, it's not great to people with good ideas. But Dion did what he could in the world, and as a result, he made a very loving family and a very well established government, incorporating his vision. And I hope that moving forward, we can all incorporate his vision. That's what he would have wanted to know. For us to all have the good of the realm.
Waiting for that.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
For the good of the realm?
Here we go.
Alum would raise his spear. For the good of the realm.
Oh my-
Begin the chant.
Oh my goodness.
And she'll step down.
Alright. And okay. I think that's everyone that wants to give a speech then. Whitney, Tate, I assume you two don't want to.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Then just to round it all off, Zarn, the tiefling out of character, Devilfolk as you know him in character, steps up to the podium last. Some people whisper amongst themselves when they see him, but he doesn't really seem to mind it that much, as he seems to kind of just look at all of the coffins and the like, and he looks at you all. I knew some of the souls here, same as all of you. Many of the fallen stood against the chaos spread by that monster that attacked our homes. Tried to calm down friends, family, even strangers who were driven mad. Some of them even tried to fight against that villain and lost their lives in response. He motions to Dion's coffin. It is a sad day to see these brave souls gone, and hopefully their souls can rest in the Hall of Heroes. But they would want us to go on. Their bravery, their courage, their selfless nature lives on in each and every one of us. United and motivated, we can rebuild and come back from this. Because even in a dark and long night, we can look to each other, where hope will always burn bright. And after that kind of motions to the next part of the funeral, where they move everyone's bodies, everyone's coffins to the golden graves where they are buried. There's some last crying and the like as the coffins are lowered in, flowers are left behind, and eventually the people who arrive for the ceremony disperse, as you all are kind of left there.
Is it just us now?
Eventually, it would disperse down to just you guys and maybe Alar, since he was a member of the group as well.
I would say in like a cool, like, you know, funeral scene where like everybody's departing and you got that quick little like, people from the person's family like speak to you kind of thing. I would say that a representative from the service corps like briefly mentions to Searson that like they'll be in touch and that they appreciated the kind words that she was able to say on behalf of their founder, and you know that they appreciate her efforts to represent him well.
All right.
One of those like slick, like gives him the business card, walks away kind of thing.
God. At a fucking
Thanks.
That's that guy. Yeah. Alar kind of looks at you all and kind of asks, "How are you all feeling?"
Ready to get to the place and do something productive on behalf of the citizens we serve.
Whitney, you sound like you were about to say something there.
No, I was just filter word. I was asking like who asked it. It was the loom.
Alar asked.
Alar. I don't know.
Okay.
What is it? Alden will say he's not doing too bad. Not worse for wear. So.
Tate, how are you feeling?
I'm all right.
Yeah, and Searson?
Yeah, that's all.
I gotcha. And Searson?
It's all right. You know, hopeful. Hopeful. We'll go with hopeful.
All right. Alar kind of looks amongst the golden leaves that are blowing in the wind. More leaves to add to the ever-growing amount, he says, kind of motioning to them. He then looks at you all. If need be, you all can take the day off, or however much time you need. There are some things that have to be discussed at some point, but that'll be eventually.
Hell yeah. Beach episode.
There are a few things I'd like to discuss before you all head off on long-term vacations, if you do plan on doing that, but that can be discussed over dinner, to which I invite you all.
Is it tonight?
No, it'll be at the beginning of next month, I think. Or would it be?
Okay.
Yeah.
Alden will be. Nope. Speak. I'm out of line.
Oh, I was gonna say, wait. Then, if you want to talk to us, what's today?
Today is
Is this like the last day of this month, or what?
No, today's the 18th of Atro. You still got about 12 more days until the end of the month.
Wait, then why are we having dinner next month instead of like tomorrow or something.
Well, it is a dinner with the other council members. Basically, it'd be like a council meeting, but over a nice dinner. I mean, you can have it tomorrow if you want.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense because he said before we do whatever, we should talk about what's next for Leowyn. So
True.
I was like, why is it not tomorrow? Maybe next week.
All right. Well, what do you guys think?
Sorry, I wasn't trying to like do that. I was trying to make sure it made sense to me. So
You're fine. Yeah. So what do you guys want to go with?
What are we talking about?
Basically, Alar's
Read it up.
inviting the entire council basically to a dinner to discuss matters about the town and stuff.
Like tonight?
Well, it would basically replace the next council meeting. The good options would be either tomorrow night, since tonight's kind of weird, or if you guys aren't free tomorrow, then maybe next week, as Cookie suggested.
Next week sounds fine.
Okay.
Alden will probably scratch his head and say, well, a week would give enough time for everyone to get anything they need and ordered. So, and also get their travel plan squared away. So at the meeting, at the dinner, we can inform everyone else what we're doing and get a timetable on all of our vacations. You know, in case something were to happen again. Looks around. We can reach out to each other quickly.
All right. And what do the last of you who haven't spoken yet think?
Think of?
The date? Like, what date would work for the dinner?
I wonder what's for dinner. Anytime soon. Hopefully within the next month. If it, like, are we talking about like day or night, or are we talking about like within the week?
Yeah, because basically the options are either tomorrow night or the next week, and I think the next week has more people.
Tomorrow night. Go. Better the quicker. Flicker. Fuck.
All right. So how many is that? How many is that for next week again?
I mean, I don't care. We can have it tomorrow if we want. I was just fucking around. Like tomorrow, next week, it don't matter to me.
All
right. For whatever my husband says.
Okay. So that's 2 for tomorrow. Okay, then in that case, tomorrow night then. Okay. All right. So you guys so afterwards, you see, as you guys are getting ready to disperse, you do see Nerul and Thren hanging in the outskirts of the Golden Gate, watching over the whole procession before you see the two of them leave. And then later that night, there is you all basically relax for the day. And later that night, you do hear that there's a bit of rowdiness at the local tavern.
Rowdiness?
Yeah, it seems like let me know if any of you are planning on investigating.
Aldwin's gonna investigate.
Yeah, I'll go too.
Okay.
What's happening?
There's rowdiness at the tavern, and I asked who's going to investigate. So Illum, Tate, and Aldwin are going. Anyone else?
I'll go with.
Okay. Citizen, you gonna go or are you gonna stay behind?
Gonna stay behind 4?
I don't know. I just want to know if Citizen gonna check out the readiness at the tavern.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So you all head over to the tavern. You see Zarn kind of just standing outside. You see his red eyes kind of glowing in the night as he's kind of like leaning against the wall that's near the door. You hear what sounds like the sounds of celebration from inside the tavern.
Celebration?
Yeah. And he sees you all coming towards the tavern, and he kind of just stands off the wall. He kind of like gets off the wall and walks over, coming to check things out.
Who's this, Takeshi?
Zarn, the tiefling.
Who?
Tiefling swordsman.
I don't know.
Here, hold
Remember
up.
that dude?
We finally have NPC pictures.
He's not in there yet because I don't have a good picture. You know what? Fuck it. I'll just grab the one that I think I have.
Yes.
Give me a second.
I'm about to say the one NPC picture you don't post.
You have lost your tits privileges.
Oh my goodness. Basically, he was the swordsman that helped you guys deal with Atan, Takeshi, and Lenato and Avalier session before last.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and they was all hypnotized.
Yeah. He
Zarn.
was the one that gave the last speech at Dion's funeral.
Oh, let's go off.
Okay. Yeah, but he basically walks to you guys and says, checking things out.
Yes, indeed.
My advice, don't. There's just local routing tonight.
Anything we should be aware of?
You hear the sounds. You think you hear at least one chant of "Ding Dong, the Enforcer's dead" comes from inside the tavern, and Zone just kind of looks at you and says, "About that. That's about it."
Alden will pinch the bridge of his nose.
Trust me. As I towards the tavern, immediately Zarn puts his arm in front of you and says, "No, don't even." He kind of like, with strength that you didn't expect to see from him. He kind of like pushes you right back towards the group. Trust me when I say that it's not worth it.
Alden will speak up. Loam, I understand wanting to beat the tar out of someone over desecrating your father's memory, but doing so will get you, that person, and half of that tavern, because a brawl will break out in lockup tonight and for the next couple of nights, in fact, until everyone cools off.
Mm-hmm. You won't change.
Pull your punches. Pull your punches, man. You don't, and yeah, pull your punches tonight.
Yeah, you won't change them. People are always like that. They'll dislike you in private until the day you die, and sometimes you can't stop that. Better to leave them be and convince them through action. So, besides, to be honest, not trying to speak. I'm not speaking ill of him. I'm just saying, Dad wasn't exactly liked by some people. Not that he cared or noticed, but he did keep. But he did keep going regardless. He's kind of stubborn like that, I think. In this regard, I'm hoping you don't take that from him. I hope take that from him. You got better things to do to lecture or beat up drunks. Better to go home and rest. Leave the adults to their celebrations.
if you will accompany me into the slums to speak for a bit about how my time would best be used, then I will accept their ignorance for what it is and walk away for this evening at least. Everyone was speaking disarmed, that is.
Zan shrugs. Sure. Yeah. I guess the rest of you too. Just let them do whatever. If they happen to do something stupid, well, I'm sure you'll throw them in jail. He motions over to Tate.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Sleep well, lions. No, I won't. He says as he kind of looks back at the tavern. And with that, I'm going to skip over to the next day when you all have dinner at the castle, or technically at Aloy's part of the castle. On the 19th of Atro. You do. So all the council members are there. Council members are there, of course. However, you do notice a few uninvited guests. Well, guests that you didn't expect to be there. For example, Leah, the mage hunter, who has a bit of a history with Aloy, as you remember, is there. She's sitting next to Virno, probably as a representative of the Mage Council at this point, along with him. That appears to be it. Extra guest-wise, though. Oh wait, no, yeah, and then Fenris is there with Thren, and Nerul seems to be there as well. There's this nice banquet feast for you all that was made. Includes some of your favorite foods, of course.
Ooh.
Ayla kind of asks, "Is the food to your liking?"
It's good.
Yeah. Yes,
Wait,
it's quite well.
what food we got?
It's your favorite. It's a large banquet feast, and it includes your guys' favorite food. All right. So while I was here to what were you gonna say, Perry?
Alden will be enjoying himself. Not being gluttonous, just
I'm gonna assume Corey's there too, but yeah, she would have stopped you if you would have done that. Probably would have tried to get you to slow down.
And do I want to make a wine joke tonight?
Do it.
Well then, in a similar fashion, if he sees Core, going a little bit heavy on her favorite types of wine, he will reach over and put the cork on the bottle, and do it with a border house reach.
Oh my goodness, noted. Ayla kind of mentions well, this is a nice dinner. This is to serve as our council meeting for the night.
Just as planned.
Get us all stuck in a room and have our bellies as full as possible, so we can't run away from the table.
Yes.
How many of you will drink by the end of this? I have no idea.
Already drinking, dude. Oh wait, you need to get my soda.
soda.
He was invited along, since it makes sense since he is part of the party now. So yes, he kind of says, so to start off, and then Thwin kind of mentions, to start off this meeting, I would like to announce my resignation from being General of Leowyn.
I've got my drink.
Yeah. Thwin said
Ready to rumble.
Thwin said I would like to announce my resignation as General of Leowyn.
Ha! It's like I totally wasn't expecting that or anything.
Whitney's dumbfounded because she is totally clueless.
What I mean is I completely understand your resignation.
Yes.
Thrin.
Zone's not there. It's just the council members that are there, along with the Daenerys family.
You hear in the corner Aldwin popping the champagne, but not in celebration, just
wrong timing.
In sadness.
Sad champagne.
Sad champagne.
But yes, because of the events of the past few months / year, I thought it best to give up my position since I'm not exactly stable enough to adhere to it. On that note, I'd also like to mention that I will be leaving Leowyn at some point to with Fenris to figure out how to control my new being. I'm not entirely sure that's a good idea. You hear Virno say before he pops more food in his mouth.
it is ultimately his choice, though. Aldwin will say.
Leah kind of chimes in. With this eternal inside of him, he might as well be a weapon of magical destruction at this point. Are we sure we should really let him walk off, so to speak?
Yes? It wasn't him that was the problem, no. It was Ares, and Ares has been dealt with.
But from what I have heard, he still resides within him is the issue as well.
Well... No, you were about to say something, Perry?
Okay, to reiterate what occurred last session was Thrin was able to wrestle control back from Ares.
Yes, and from what you gather, Ares now slumbers within Thrin. The two of them are now one, but Ares still exists. He's just slumbering within Thrin now. The Nerul just brought him up to the forefront to take control.
Okay. Aldwin he'll say this. Thrin was and is able to have the will to fight off Ares. In addition, just to make sure my memory is correct, Thrin is the druid son? Okay. And because Thrin is a druid, if he chooses to leave, he will likely head off into the wilderness, where he'll be far away from humanity, the mortal kind, as he can get, staving off any power that Ares has to either awaken or feast off of anger. And from my understanding, with Fenris tagging along, she will be able to be a counterbalance around him. Hopefully. Meaning, if it was his choice to walk out into the middle of the woods and never be, and find the one place on the continent where no one is within range of him, that might be his best choice. Alden's going to look around the table.
What are you asking?
Basically, Thrin said he was leaving and stuff, but Leah and Vanner are like, should we really let him leave since Ares is still inside of him? He's just asleep, and he's a weapon of magical destruction at this point.
No, I'm not letting him leave. He deserves to be here under our protection, or he needs to be watched, though. We're not having another type of that bullshit again.
Alright. Vino kind of says, see? Someone's sensible.
Alum would postulate that the most important factor wouldn't be his location, but it would be his focus upon the refinement of his power given his new circumstance. So Alum would kind of would try and show that he's supporting Tate, given that he respects the previous position in relation to his father. Kind of like he doesn't exactly agree 100%, but it's more of like he discussed his judgment, if that makes sense. He's trying to show that.
Makes sense. Sisson, did you say your thoughts on it?
Gotta admit, my thoughts are now very changed, due to... Fuck, it's Corey. Corey, right? Please tell me I'm right.
Who are you talking about?
No, Tate.
Thank you. That's what I was saying.
I'm retarded. Dude, it's a cookie nut!
What?
What? Opinion.
He was trying to figure out who spoke, and he confused you with Corey for a second.
Oh. Yeah, I spoke.
I'm like, didn't this event kind of happen twice already? But, on the flip side, what could we do to contain that? If it happens again, then our town goes in complete disarray again.
And there's probably people in the town that would not want a repeat of that again. At all.
Newell kind of mentions there are enough people in town that already want him gone as well.
Alum would suggest that he knows of a place, if one cannot be decided upon, that may serve as a facilitator for the refinement that they would seek for the weapon that Thrin could become on behalf of the people that he wishes to protect as a preemptive measure to ensure our citizens' safety and position, both militarily and economically.
Fenris chimes in and says, I know of a better place for him that will let him be able to control his powers, so that way he won't be used by anyone except by his own volition. He said, and this is less And then Neril chimes in and says, and also at this point, this is less of a question of. I feel like the better question is who will watch over him, who will tell us about how his things are going. Because let's be frank here. If he wanted to leave and he was very determined, well.
Yeah, makes sense.
Who would be the most suited to maximize his growth within the aspects needed to both contain and maximize the power and potential good that power could do? I would say that would probably be the most important person to send along with him.
What suggestion do you have, Fenris?
Me.
I was already thinking that.
To be more exact, I know of a place where time dilation is far greater than it normally is in the Feylands. This one in particular moves more in. Every day here is far shorter on there. You could spend entire years in that place and come out, and it would only have been a couple days or maybe months. It's a place that only I know of, but if you're looking for one that's secure enough for him and that would keep him safe, that would be the best place. And
No, I agree.
Vino kind of nods and agreeing with Tate, and Leah kind of says, "And we're meant to trust, and we're meant to trust you to be able to report to us on the matter. Well, I'll report to you on the matter with things that I view that are important enough."
In addition, wouldn't the Feywild enable a natural counterbalance to occur? Say Ares were to crop up again. Wouldn't the natural forces within the Feywild trump him pretty hard? Asking the druid.
Fenrit's gonna pause. Judging from what I've gathered about Ares, I don't see that being likely. At best, it'll buy you time.
Well, then, even if it just does buy us time, I think it's still an advantage that we should consider using.
Say it one more time.
It's an aspect of advantage that I think we should consider using, even if it does just provide additional time. I think that time could give us valuable opportunity to alter our approach to countering Ares in comparison to the circumstance under which it had to be done so before. It's in our best interest to have every buffer possible between the power that could cause us harm and those that we wish to protect, as is available within the circumstance.
Well then, I see there's only one end to this then. So, Aylar kind of like taps on the glass with a fork, making a chiming sound. Okay, going down. Okay, so all in favor of Thren. Well, not in favor of Thren leaving, but all in favor of Fenris basically being the one to report to us about Thren.
Alden will raise his hand.
Just to be clear, this is where he's going to be sent to that. Was it like a dimension or something?
Yeah, basically.
What was it again?
Basically a pocket. It's kind of like a pocket of the Feylands, basically where time sped up. So a day outside, it could be years in there. Basically he has a lot more time to harness his powers.
So that one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, basically the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll raise my hand.
All right.
I'm with hubby.
All right. Illumes forward. Searson.
Oh shit! I said I'm with that.
All right. Alar will abstain from this vote because technically he's too close to it. Takeshi will vote on the side. Takeshi will join you all. Onyx will vote against you. Vino will vote with you, and Pino will vote. And Pino will vote. Pino will vote with you guys as well. So the vote is nearly unanimous. And with that, Thwin's kind of not surprised by the way the vote went, as he kind of just nods slowly. Okay, now that matter's dealt with. We have we now have 2 seats to fill: the enforcer role and the general role. Any suggestions for any suggestions? Would it? Is there a particular role that we'd start with first?
We can start with the general one and then go to enforcer.
Alright.
Who was the general before?
Thrin, he resigned.
Okay. What does the general do again?
The general will basically be in charge of your military forces within the coming 2 months, as decided by Searson's talk with the lords. Your general will be the one who basically leads your armies to deal with the Flame Guard over in Helog and basically conquer that kingdom.
What are our options?
So, remembering your past 2 nominations for this role were Atan and Zarn. Actually, when after he became the martyr, his name was taken out, so. And also, Loom has basically offered himself up for either general or enforcer roles. So right now, Loom has also tried to nominate himself for the general role.
Loom, how old are you? I need to know. You still baby. No.
You still baby.
Okay, this is maybe out of character, but respectfully, Tate is like, Loom, I think you should not be in these positions for a while.
A little too young.
You're a bit young.
So, what's like the pros and cons of like Zarn versus Atan?
Okay, so the general relies on charisma or strength. Let me look at their spell sheets right now. I mean, not spell sheets. Let me look at their code sheets right now. So, Zarn has a much higher charisma. From what you guys remember from seeing Zarn and Atan in action, Atan's clearly the stronger of the two. Though you have noticed that Zarn seems to be a lot stronger than his size and stature would indicate. However, Zarn is much more charismatic.
I guess it would make sense to make Zarn.
Zarn, it must be. Oh, I'm sorry.
God. So actually, you think it should be Zarn?
Yeah, unless anyone has any other points to.
I feel like Zarn would actually be better for enforcer.
How so?
He's dealt with a lot of local issues during the duration of this game.
That makes sense.
I'd like to mention, Enforcer does rely on strength or dexterity, which his dexterity is all right at a 16 from what you remember.
All right, and what does General rely on?
Strength or charisma, and his charisma is a 20.
Oh, well, that's settled. He's going to be a general now.
Well, I mean,
what do you think, Queen?
Hey, Sorry, I don't mean to cut anyone off.
Go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I cut you.
Alden will look over at Zarn.
He's not there. I'd like to mention he's not at the dinner because he's not a member of the council
Yet.
Alden will say aloud, I would like to ask a couple of basic questions if he was here. But he's not. So
Pinot just kind of pauses. Do I need to go get him? He's probably at the cathedral trying to talk with Leanne.
I better not interrupt that.
Nah, she's usually fine with us interrupting that.
He'll Although would just simply wish to ask him if what's his martial experience and what is he most would he be used to dealing with, basically a writhing mass of possibly drunken soldiers who
I got you.
you'll have to deal with a large scale army and keep them together while on the march.
Yeah. Pina will be right back. She will go to explain. She will go to get Zarn. As a quick aside, Gabe. So we had this funeral for Dion. It was a nice funeral.
Bro, I feel I missed out.
Sorry, man. Sorry, man.
All right.
We're currently having a dinner though to decide things about the town. Currently, Thwin has resigned from being general, and what else? Oh yeah, and he's going to leave Leowyn with Fenris to go and try and control his powers. And now you're debating who the general's going to be. The choices are Atan, Zarn, and Illum. And as I say that, soon, about 10 minutes later, Pino comes back with Zarn in tow, and he kind of you see he's coming in with his mercenary outfit and everything, and he sees you all. He's like, I feel like I overdressed. I feel like I'm underdressed for this.
Dress is of no matter. Merit is what is in question here. Please let us proceed.
He kind of sits next to Pino, looks at the food and says, pretty good food.
Exactly. Food is what matters.
So, Pino said you wanted to talk to me. What's up?
Alden will simply ask him, if you were placed in command of a force of 3,000 soldiers and had to march from 200 miles to siege a city that could last for a year, to participate in a siege that can last upwards of a year, what would you do? And how would you handle it?
Is the settlement by a river?
For the sake of this discussion, yes.
Dam the river on both sides, flooding the city from the inside. As a result, sewage would back up, thus demoralizing the men. After that, we can either wait and starve them out until the populace revolt against their leader, or we can send them some insurgency forces to basically cause enough chaos to either destroy the forces from the inside, or kill the leader of the town and then thus open the gates for us, letting us in.
Would your first option be the biggest spell if you had the choice between the nuclear option and the most destructive but the fastest method, or the slowest but the most methodical method, which would you choose?
What do we want? Do we want the settlement intact?
Depends. What would you say the settlement was a major trade town?
Along a major road, I'm guessing?
Intersection of two major roads, one going north-south, the other one going east-west.
In that case, I would feel like there would be a mix of both. I feel like the more destructive option could be used more as a way to terrify the men, most likely blowing it up in the sky to show the power we have. But the more methodical option would be better. If push comes to shove, then we can devastate the town, but unfortunately that might cause more casualties and headaches later on. which I think would be rather avoided in some respects.
And how would you handle a cantankerous commander that is not obeying your orders?
Do I need him around?
That is your choice. It is your command structure.
Publicly reprimand and demote him in front of his men. Put in charge someone that would be able to keep the men in line. Put him under that man's command. If he wants to act like a child, he'll be treated like one, is the way I'd handle it.
And last bit here. Say you have a refugee train behind you. How do you handle them?
Keep them warm and fed. Check for any spies, or that are coming, or people that are reporting our information to the enemy in the camp. And I'll drop them off at an encampment where another army can look over them, or send them back to Leowyn if need be, checking them harshly to make sure that none of them will bring harm. He says all this, by the way. Well, he says this as if this is just just normal, as he's just munching on food. And he looks up. Anything else?
And now to bring some brevity to the discussion. What's that Monty Python question? Which can carry a coconut? Oh, can a swallow carry a coconut?
If it's magically enhanced by some stupid mage, yes. Vino kind of looks at him. You were very up forth with those answers. Not the first time I have led command before. You have? Aloy perks up. You have? Thran and Nerul, you have?
You have?
Oh, yeah, years ago, up north. Led a force of 100,000, I think. Can't remember currently. Was basically holding off against a siege of a much larger force. Was able to beat them back with time and strategy, of course. My strategist I had was pretty handy too, though he and I aren't speaking terms anymore. So, though I think Searson would probably be a better match than him.
So, are we hiring him?
Hey, all in favor?
I mean, yeah.
I feel like this is a unanimous one. Like everyone just slowly raises their hands up. Like, yeah. Everyone's just like, yeah.
Yep.
Susan, do you have any questions for him before we get to the vote? Like,
No.
Really?
I'm good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does everyone vote for Zarn to be general then?
Yeah.
Alum would quickly ask, would you prioritize the preservation of what you currently have access to, or the destruction of what stands in opposition to that current holdings growth?
Both. Why does it have to be a choice?
It's always a choice, but we'll see if it becomes that in this scenario, and then he would raise his hand.
All right. Aldwin, Whitney, what's your yay or nay for Zarn becoming general? Okay. Aldwin?
Considering he barraged him with the effect of what may happen in his first campaign, he will He will simply raise his hand.
Okay. Takeshi's like, I like this guy, and he raises his hand. Pino kind of like looks at him, and kind of like raises his hand too. Onyx kind of just watches Zarn carefully before he nods and raises his hand. I just realized he hasn't taken off his mask. I would think that Zarn's just slipping the food underneath his mask. He doesn't take it off for you to see his face.
Dramatic.
But yeah, and with that, with a unanimous vote, Zarn is now the General of Leowyn. All that's left now is the Enforcer.
Alright.
And who are the candidates for that?
I have no idea.
I have a feeling Illum wants to be.
A little too young, boy.
You do. Be training his soldier his whole life. This is what you do. This is the role he be going for. This is why he on the team.
Oh my god. Well,
it is what he must do.
Well, Loom's one nomination. I would assume that Kaladin's backing that nomination.
Yeah.
Alright.
Future potential.
I would say that, as I said before, the Enforcer needs a high strength or high dexterity.
Who has high dexterity or strength?
Okay. Well, there are the member of the Jade Knights technically with high strengths. If you wanted to deal with them, one notable example being Castiel, the Druid Knight.
Does Baker's son have a job?
Well, not Druid Knight, Cleric Knight. You talking about Lenato? Not Lenato. Deirdre. God.
No, not Deirdre. The other Baker's son. Baker Knight.
Leo Brownspice.
Yes. Does he has a job?
Leo Brownspice.
He's currently a knight right now, but considering how good he is at archery, you'd assume that he'd have a high dexterity.
Yeah.
Okay, so Leo Brownspice is an option. Vernier also has a high dexterity, I realize. Well, both Verniers do, actually. And Marcirus. Yeah, okay. Well, let's bring it back. Okay, so Leo Brownspice, Illum. Inspirational leader. The feat? I wouldn't see the purpose for... I mean, all that does is give them temporary hit points, but...
I think it means like more of like the... like flavor-wise. Maybe?
Inspire... Oh, he means inspiring leader. Sure. In the next 10 minutes, Illum tries to give a rousing speech. Illum gives a rousing speech, basically. And everyone gets... Illum's level 10. What's... Really? Having watched that anime, really, that's the speech you want to go with? Anyway,
okay.
Sorry. Illum will give you guys... What is this? What is it? Okay, he gives you guys 15 temporary hit points from his inspiring speech.
Nice.
Oh, fuck, where am I?
Be right back.
Okay. But, so thoughts, guys, on you should be Enforcer?
Leo Brownspice.
Leo Brownspice.
Only because of the name, baby.
Wow. I'm actually gonna go with whatever Aldwin does. No pressure.
Okay, well... So, Illum and Neo and Brownspice are the current two options, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Aldwin will, I'm assuming Brown Spice is not here right now.
Nope.
Aldwin will lean over to a servant and basically and tell him to go to the bakery and drag Brown Spice away from his work. It's a very, very important.
20 minutes later. So 20 minutes later, Brown Spice does come in, but he comes in with this pan of pastries, and he kind of like walks. You hear him walking. He's like, I was making a really good setup, and then he sees who's here. He's like,
Aldwin's just gonna give him the sternest look on the planet.
Never mind. Yeah, they're done anyway. He says he walks over and kind of like puts them gently down on the table.
I am going to sample them immediately.
They're really sweet and good. What can I do? What can I do for you, Lord Commander?
Aldwin will look at Spice and Loom. Okay, I have a couple questions for both of you. Just to review, Enforcer is basically police chief.
Judge. The warden is the police chief. That is Tate's role.
Okay.
Enforcer deals with military and health checks when dealing with criminals and other matters. Basically, they are the I don't know what it is. They're basically like I said that they were basically like the judges of Leowyn, basically. But I guess technically they can also help in investigations. But the investigation part is mainly Tate's purview.
Okay. Hold on, look between the two. You are brought a case due to Tate's efforts, you are brought a case before you that you had to adjourn over. This is a case involving a nasty gang that has taken over the streets of Leowyn and is making life very, very unpleasant for everyone involved. This gang is no stranger to attacking, intimidate, and murdering anyone who gets in their way or threatens their operations. And have gone nearly short of targeting your own family and friends. You were able to. There was a break in the case, and a witness is brave enough to come forward to bring the. We're able to bring forth the testimony that has brought this whole organization in. Your decision decides whether or not this whole organization is brought down in a blaze of glory and justice for the whole town, but possibly, brings justice to the town and its people, but puts you, your family, and your friends at high risk, or keeps the will of your safety of your personal family and your friends safe, but dooms the town to potentially perpetual darkness and crime.
Leo kind of
Do you
blinks.
want to go second or first?
Leo kind of blinks for a moment as he just processes what Aldwin just says, and he says, and he just looks over at Illum.
Does this mean that Illum should speak first?
Basically, he's still processing.
This is not a question. My family has already proven that they must put their mission, which is in this case the preservation of life of all people, above that of a selected fewer people. So what you present is less of a question and more of a fallacy within judgment. I would think that one would need to overcome to even be worthy of receiving recognition or the appointment of this position. But I could understand perhaps the merit if some incredibly important means or method was housed within the individuals in question you had to protect specifically. But normally that information is disseminated within a whole, which is why we form collective communities. So we must always put the good of the many above the few, even if those few are loved by us as our families most often are.
So, Loam, you put the town above your family's safety?
My only family left is my mother, and she can protect herself. And of myself, the only family I currently have beyond that of my mother and my father that passed to give his life for the very people of this town, the town themselves, the collective, the larger part of the half being my current family. Or at least the one I identify as it being.
He'll nod. Thank you, Loam. Brown spice?
Leo kind of just looks over at Loam for a moment, like looking at it. Well, okay. Well, okay. I guess we're willing doing this. Well, understanding Loam's point of view, but not everybody has a family that is that powerful. On top of that, you have to keep in mind that you're not the only judge in Leowyn, you're just the high judge. There are lower judges below you that you have to keep in mind, I would think. Anyway, if that's not the case, then why isn't that a thing? That should be a thing. I mean, to be honest, I can understand the man who doesn't want to put his family at risk, but if there's a chance that my family is harmed, then I turn to the warden, in this case, Sir Severin, and would trust them to keep my family safe while this case is being prosecuted by whoever. Yeah.
So you would make sure that those that could be affected and involved are protected under the law and kept as safe as possible. Correct?
Yeah, but this kind of seems weird considering that you bring up our families, but what about the people who will actually make this case work?
Alden will smile. What do you do about the other families involved?
Well, I would hope that the warden has to protect. I would hope that that I can work with the warden. That so that he can protect them. I think I trust. From what I've seen of Sir Severin, I think I can trust him enough to be able to protect witnesses and the like. And if need be, I can call upon the others, like maybe the general or the counselor or something like that, to protect them. But yeah.
Okay. So you would utilize the power of other offices to help bolster yours.
That sounds kind of wrong when you say it like that, but yes, but yeah, considering the fact that the entire, if this group is so dangerous, I would think that the other officers would want to see that they're dealt with, you know. But
He'll not.
Yeah.
I'll ask another question and then I will turn it over to everyone else for the voting. But I am caught doing something very illegal. Murdering someone, ordering a hit on someone, taking money, embezzling it.
That's my job.
But I'm not using the proper, and generally I am to the point that even by the standards of other nobles, he will turn to the guests here. No offense. I turn into the absolute most corrupt person on the planet and begin dabbling in things that are not good of me or even anyone within the lines of Leowyn. Both you are my friends. I am your commander, Brown Spice. In Illum, I am the friend of your dead father. How do you handle my sentencing?
Tell your wife. sorry. I had to get that joke out the way real quick because I was like, because the first thing I thought was, Owen's doing something bad. Tell his wife.
Pretty much.
I'm sure he's afraid of.
That's all you have to do.
I'm sorry.
Does Brown Spice say that?
Actually, you know what? Yes, he does blurt that out, and then and then Corey just kind of like spit, like does it almost as a spit take, and you just see several members at the table just try not to laugh, like, oh my god.
What are you
Brown Spice. So basically, Alden was like, okay, I've been convicted of a terrible. I've done horrible things. I've broken laws, stuff like that. How do you sentence me? And then Leo just said, tell your wife. Because his wife is Corey, who he knows that Alden is afraid of, or he doesn't want to upset. The table's kind of laughing.
Corey's gonna fold him.
Corey just looks like he's trying not to laugh at this moment, like he's trying to hold it down so bad.
Through all this, Alden he had like a stoic, stern expression on his face, but the tips of his ears has turned red, and his shoulders are hunched up, like.
Wait, Illum pulls a knife and puts it on the table, puts it on the ground in front of Leo, and Leo just looks at it as like, he's kind of like pauses to look at the knife from him, and then he says, what's with the knife? What?
Money the fuck?
No. What should we play? If your immediate thing is to execute him for that, then no.
Good lord, dude.
Like, that's what Leo says anyway. He's an honored hero if you execute him in front of the entire town, an honored hero, a war hero on top of that, that would cause so much strife. I don't think sending him to execution is the answer. Definitely he needs some punishment. Maybe being stripped of his title and the like, and someone else being made lord, but death should be one of the... And if you... Excuse me, but if you think that death is the primary answer to this, then I don't think you're right for this position.
Damn. I thought there'd be at least one.
Yeah, a knife doesn't have to be used to kill, but the fact that you pull out one shows that you're willing to injure.
No.
So basically, you just see this argument start to form between Leo and Illum, from what you can tell. Yes, but you pulled out yes, but you're not a surgeon, and neither is the enforcer. And we might be judge and jury. We're judge and jury, and sometimes rarely we might be executioner, but that shouldn't be but still. And also you have to keep in mind that something might look harmful, but there might be ways to turn it into something good. I'm sure the physician here can say something to that matter. I'm sorry. What is the point of this exactly? This protection is good by containing the chaos of evil outside of what would be allowed.
The chaos is pulling out a knife!
The point is to expedite this process, but let us proceed to vote to do that. What vote? What? Aldwin, Sir, Master Hollywood, what is going on?
He looks between him and Loom. Gauge your response. See how you, at least in a hypothetical situation, how you would handle the ethical question of bringing judgment on someone close to you, someone who is potentially bigger than you, more connected, or someone you've looked up to and see as a role model.
Everyone's bigger than me. Everyone's bigger than me. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how I feel. The only question is, do I have the will to try? And there will always be fear, but the question is, can you deal with it? I guess. And to be honest, it seems like you have a healthy bit of fear yourself if you're willing to consider such barbaric methods. I remember a couple years ago, a lot of people said that, and look at where we are now. But whatever. Yeah, vote, please. Alar kind of looks at the rest of the council. Does anyone else have somebody to ask?
Any more proposals as well?
Yeah.
No.
Jesus Christ. No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. God damn it. Oh, fuck, I don't have the reaction table on this one, do I?
I may have a proposal for an enforcer, if it's all right with you.
What would that be?
Perhaps... Taint, one of your siblings?
That would mean they would have to live here, and I'm assuming they don't want to be here for a long period of time.
Yeah, they still have like family business up in
Albania.
Yeah. Severin's got crime business to take care of.
And Leah?
Wait, as in the mage hunter?
Huh?
You see Alar was about to take a drink, and you see him kind of like, when you say that. Then
I'm sure that will do fine. Sir Aldwin, do you wish to propose this?
Alden will look over at the mage hunter. To be blunt, would you step down from your position and become a city enforcer and basically be confined to a small little province in the backwaters of Hanak?
She will pause for a moment. She will kind of like clean off her mouth. She'll look at Searson first, and then she'll look at Alar, and then she'll look at you, Aldwin, and then she'll say, "Well, I would hope to keep my place. I would hope to stay in the Mages Guild, though would try to execute my position as unbiasedly as possible. But I would be willing if that was the case."
Virna is also in the Mages Guild as well as holding the Master's position. Yeah.
Yes,
And
indeed.
be assured that your both positions would most likely be kept.
Okay. Okay. So Alar is going to kind of sit back for a moment, and you're gonna see him start. You're gonna see him like put a knife on the table and start spinning it, and spinning it like it's like the blade is against the table, and he starts spinning it with his thumb, or with his, I guess, with the palm of his hand. He's going to think for a moment. He's going to look amongst basically the three candidates. And he's going to ask. If someone walks into your court and you know they're guilty without a reasonable doubt, but legally you cannot prove it. But legally there is enough doubt to say that they are innocent. What would you do?
When do you want to move to answer in the order of the people?
You can do it now.
This individual has proceeded into my courtroom with my knowledge that their guilt is absolute, but without legal evidence of that. And how have I managed to ensure that they come into my court despite me not having legal evidence to prove of such? Like, by what means are they currently being forced to come into my courtroom?
They were arrested and the like. There was enough evidence to go forward with a trial, but there's not enough evidence with beyond a reasonable doubt.
I see. Well, if this individual can be detained safely as to not pose a risk of anything beyond a inconsequential injury to any within society, and could be asked to cooperate within a circumstance that they could be of, at minimum, subsistence of themselves via some level of confined production, and hopefully over time be enticed to be a cooperative, productive member, even within a refined circumstance, depending on the severity of the charge and the potential risk they may pose.
It sounds like you're saying isolate them regardless.
I'm saying that if you're aware that there is a over 51% chance that they will cause harm, then it is within not only the correct thing to do, but the legal thing to do to restrain them until proof can show that they no longer prove a threat to society if released, but also to allow for further investigation to either prove or disprove the crime in which that suggests that they currently pose a risk to society.
All right. Brown Spice, let them go. Let the warden know that they'll be let go, and to tell him to ask him to see if his men can look into the investigation more to find more concrete evidence. If I can't prove him guilty enough, then I can't lock them away or sentence them. Leah kind of pauses for a moment. Fane, let them go, but keep them under extreme surveillance, and make sure they have no means to do the crime that they supposedly might have committed, even if they so that way they don't have a chance to do it again if they did it in the first place. You see Ayla kind of just nod. Then he looks and nod, and then he looks amongst the council. Well, if no one else has anything else they'd like to ask or say, then I bring the motion forward. The nominees for the Enforcer of Leowyn are Loom Castigaya, Leonardo Brownspice, and Leah Galonadel. So, those in favor of Loom.
I will abstain from voting due to obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm. Anyone voting for Loom?
Sure.
Okay, Kaladin's in favor. No, sorry, I'm rolling something real quick.
I know who I'm voting. And sadly, it isn't you, Alum. I apologize.
I'm seeing who's gonna vote for him because I'm rolling. Oh God, what the hell?
Don't know you that well.
Oh. Wait, are we still in the 3-year time skip?
Technically.
Does that end it?
Technically, yeah.
It's not a time skip at this point.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
It might as well not even be a time skip. So yeah, Onyx will vote for Illum. Okay, then Illum's 21 then. Wait, I thought he was 15 before the time skip started.
I thought he was 18.
You just said he was 18. Yeah.
I know that, but I thought 18 was post time skip, Trevor, not pre time skip or what? Okay. Anyway, Onyx will vote for Illum as well. As will. Hold up. How many members of the council are there again? There's you 6. Wait, no, you 5. Alar, Virno, Takeshi, Pino, Onyx, and Zarn. So that's 11. So yeah, Zarn, Pino, and Onyx will also vote for Illum for total votes of 4. All right. So that leaves 7 votes. All right. So who votes for Leonardo Brownspice to be the next enforcer?
Leo for the Leo win. Leo for the Leo win.
Okay, Tate and Whitney both vote for Leo.
Alduin will slowly raise his hand.
Let me think who else is left. Takeshi will raise his hand as well. So that's 4. So what is that? That's 4 votes. Oh wait, Citizen, which way are you? Citizen, who are you voting for?
I'm voting for Leah.
Okay, well, so that's Takeshi, Tate, okay. And then, so that's 4-4. And last but not least, Leah. So Virno, Alar, Thyrson, and... Wait, is it? Oh, my God, Ellison! God damn it! Fucking...
I forgot about any song.
Okay, actually, God, if she votes for Leah, that makes it a 3-way tie. Okay, so,
tournament decided at the tournament.
Oh my goodness. Okay, someone give me a number range.
1 to 20.
Okay, what should be the what? God, I'm trying to think about this. Well, I guess technically, you know what?
If it's a three-way tie,
High or low?
Huh?
I mean, if it's a tie, can we split the role between them?
Well, someone has to take the primary forward role. That will be the one that'll basically be the face, like how Thrin and Erul might have worked together. Thrin was the official one whose stats it was based off of.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's more of a 2-way tie right now, but I'm thinking about what Ellison would do here, because she doesn't really have a connection to any of the three, so that's why I'm trying to think of what she'd vote for. Yeah, what were we gonna say, Trevor?
I don't really care either way. But if it needs to happen for the story that I'm supposed to have like a position, like enforcer, like if that's something that's necessary for a loom to be like part of the Lions, then I think he should be 23 maybe, because he may have been 20 before. I found that, but it doesn't really matter. So if he doesn't need to have the position, and just let me know, because I'll stop trying to.
I mean,
Loom won't. He won't try and convince everybody. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm supposed to. If I'm trying to fight for the position or not. If that makes sense.
This is literally up to you guys. I'm literally leaving this decision
Okay.
straight to the roles. So.
I got you.
Okay. Ellison will look amongst the three of you. And okay. She's going to vote for Leo.
So Leo gets it?
Leo gets it with a total votes of 5. Alum comes runner-up with 4. Leah comes last with 3. And and Alar kind of nods and says, then with that, Leonardo Brownspice will be the enforcer of Leowyn. You can see Leo just kind of pale for a moment before he just kind of nods slowly.
Wait, did he not want to do it?
It's not that he didn't want to do it. He didn't expect to win. He didn't expect that to be an option for him.
Okay, because I didn't want to pressure this boy into something he didn't want to do.
Alar then looks around and says, "But might I add an idea that maybe Alum and Leah can be judges underneath him? To bet we need to start diversifying this judge group anyway, and those two seem like a good start, don't you think?"
Yes.
An establishment of an actual judicial system might be a start. Is an excellent step.
So
Alum would suggest specialize in the roles of the lower judges to best fit their inclinations to expedite the process by which this judicial system can develop.
That'll be something to keep in mind then. On that note, there's something that I realize that we do need to discuss somewhat. Well, actually, no. This is something. Actually, no. Wait. Let me pause that real quick. I'm trying to think about this because. Okay. Tate, you hear Aloy's voice in your head as he's going to subtle cast a telepathy spell.
Okay.
He's going to ask you, do you think Deirdre needs to be brought up?
Probably.
He nods. He nods at you, and then he says, "There's a slight issue at hand. So, 2 years ago, we captured a Flame Guard Inquisitor and a Hobgoblin Captain of the fallen Merrick Legion. The Inquisitor joined our side in exchange for giving us information on what we'll be using in the campaign in 2 months. However, the Hobgoblin Captain, who was abrasive to interrogation attempts by both Kaladin and Whitney, was killed in his cell, beaten to death. The culprit was never discovered, but the theory was that it was a guard. With the fight against Ares yesterday, he revealed to us that the culprit might very well be Deirdre, who is Tate's second. And I raised the question of whether he should still be allowed in the guards after a breach of conduct like this."
I love him, but I don't know if we should. Like, if he actually did it, I don't think we should coddle him. People would think that we're, like, corrupt and shit.
This is more of a cold case scenario. In my opinion. But this is very true. You have to.
I will take him under my watch. He will be the first to participate in a program that will allow individuals to operate under certain conditions to prove that they are no longer a threat to society, while at the same time bettering themselves.
That isn't exactly what we were, like, thinking about.
The question is whether he stays in the guards or not.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I thought he was, like, guilty of potentially being the one that had the transaction, but my fault.
Ares told you guys that he basically that he did it. Whether you take his word or not is up to you. But basically, Alar is saying with that declaration and with what they know thus far, should they keep him in the guard? And basically, at this point, Alar is going to look to Tate and ask, "What do you think?"
Oh, okay, I got you.
What he did? How serious is it?
He killed a prisoner in our cells, presumably because of his hatred of hobgoblins, or goblinoids in general. If I had to hazard a guess, they did kill his friends 3 years ago.
Still, he shouldn't have done that. So
He might need
he
to
can be
pull out.
punished. We can suspend him for like a month.
All right. Spy Master, what do you think?
View Zone of Truth been cast on him?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know that we supposedly know.
Well, would be the what could possibly happen with him knowing that we suspect him.
Well, I don't believe it was one for the party. Yeah. Aloy kind of says, "Well, I don't think Deirdre's that violent towards us. He seems to have an hatred regarded towards only specific people, like some of this town. So I don't think it would matter much. Maybe depending on the situation."
See. Oh, maybe some Zone of Truth wouldn't be too bad.
Searson?
Honestly, I would prefer if he does get punished for these actions. That is indeed murder, and that should not go unpunished. I expect the full extent of the law for its punishment.
Aldwin?
Everyone will see that he's mulling. At this point, he's probably closed his eyes in discussion, is thinking to himself. Okay. How much actual evidence do we have?
The word of Ares thus far. He does have the motives and means.
Motive and mean, indeed.
Oh, Ares said this?
Yeah, Ares was the one that Ares said to Whitney, basically he was calling all of you guys out for calling all of you guys out, and one of the things he said that was that Whitney was coddling a murderer by saying that Deirdre was the one who murdered the hobgoblin. And looking at it, he does have the means and the method. I mean the method. I mean he does have the motive for it. He does have the means for it because all he had to do was beat him with his bare hands, but basically the only
So then, why don't we just propose an investigation to find out if it was actually him? Because Ares might be lying.
I was about to suggest that. Because I don't mean to shoot and degrade the station of Enforcer. But considering the track record that we have, considering that the track record we all have with Ares, and when it's just occurred, for people to discover that a veteran of the Merrick conflict was deposed from his position because of the thing that destroyed our town said, I would call the whole decision into question. And he'll turn to the three enforcers at the table and Whitney and Tate, sorry. That is not to discredit your opinions and your jobs and your and what you can bring and what you can prove through an investigation.
No, I get it. I think an investigation would be better.
Right. Well then, I propose that Tate and Illum in this case should investigate the matter into Deirdre. And as much as I'd like to test our head enforcer currently, due to his relations to Lenato, that might call into question. That his sentencing could be called into question.
Really, this whole setup can cause the whole thing to be called into question.
Mm-hmm. This will be interesting. But it has to be done, and it has to be done. All in favor of opening an investigation into the murder of the Hobgoblin captain, and into Deirdre, the survivor?
Aye.
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 Alden will hold up a chalice. Aye.
Onyx. Aye. Takeshi. Aye. Zarn. Aye. And the eyes ring across the table, and Alar nods, and he kind of you see his hands kind of like you see one fist in his hands, and he's kind of like leaning his head against. Oh, he's leaning it against his mouth as he kind of looks up with golden eyes. All right then. Is there any other that needs to be brought to the table currently?
No.
Nope.
All right. Unless someone else has, unless anyone else has something that they'd like to, unless God, okay, I'm goddamn. Unless there's anything else that someone would like to propose, I think the proposal section of the council meeting can end. And I think at this point, the inner council, who looks towards basically the entire party, can go and relax if they'd like. Meanwhile, the rest of the council can take over running the city while you all relax from your trials and tribulations.
When we start getting up and leaving, Aldwin will go around and shake the hands of each of the new council members, leaving Brown Spice for last.
Some will kind of pat you on the back. Leo will nod. And how will Illum respond to getting a handshake from Aldwin?
He would accept the handshake, but also put another hand to the outside and said that he would appreciate the opportunity to speak with Aldwin further about the current combat strategies employed by military and paramilitary forces within this area at a later date, if the availability was concurrent within their schedules. So basically, he would just be asking, like, from one soldier to another for, like, his point of view regarding, like, the military strategy around the area of the forces involved, since he's kind of, somewhat new to the circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And Aldwin will say to Illum, first, I want you to research our battle tactics. Research every battle that we have participated in. Give me a full breakdown of said strategies, and then create a proposal of your strategies.
Oh, he got homework.
It will be done. As I wish I would actually do my homework.
And then, and he'll also tell him, also do not forget to show up to the Jade Knight trials, or admissions event.
Oh, don't worry. If there was one event I wasn't going to miss during my lifetime, it was these tryouts. I'll be there. Imagine, like, the Rock Lee level of enthusiasm. Like, he's ready. Because he heard his dad talk about the Jade Knights, and he's like, oh, yes. All right. He is pumped. So, yeah. I will be there, sir.
Alden will slap him on the shoulder and let him go. Before moving on.
Leo kind of like looks at you, and he asked, "Did you nominate me?"
Alden will make sure that before he walks up to Leo, he will the brown spice. He will have like a wine bottle hanging out of his coat, like an empty wine bottle hanging out of his coat. He'll hiccup or do a fake hiccup if he wants to incite that.
Or we just. I think it should automatically add in your wisdom to your check.
Okay, I'm white screening on the Foundry. Give me a second. Oh, okay, there it is. No, stop. Okay. I'm so sorry for taking up this much of the session with my questions and stuff and my little hanky-panky oddness.
Did it add? Oh no, it didn't. Okay, so that's Actually, did it? I don't think. Yeah, because I think you're good at deception, right?
No, I'm not proficient in deception, so.
Okay. Okay, 11. All right. Okay, let me roll insight for him. Nope, he can't tell.
He'll hiccup, scratch his belly. I don't know.
God. See you later. He says. He kind of like lets you go, and then he proceeds to sit down at the table with the rest of them.
But before he leaves, he'll grab him on the shoulder and pull him back. To answer your question, you could say I was one of the ones that brought you up.
Alright. He then proceeds to sit down at the table. Tate, I assume that you're getting ready to go to so that way you can relax, so that way you and the rest of the party can basically go on vacation.
Yeah. Does anyone need me for anything?
Takeshi's gonna grab you by the arm, and he's basically gonna look at you. He's gonna. I think that even though he's sitting down, I feel like he's at level height with you, basically.
Yeah.
So he just looks at you and he kind of like goes and he says, if need be, I can have a couple of my guys look into it with the whole Deirdre thing.
I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Enjoy your vacation.
Thanks. You should try to relax too.
We'll see. And if you have any kids, make sure to make me the godfather. He says.
He's like, okay.
Ophelia.
He's just messing with you guys. He just spat you on the back. Have fun, kid.
How long do you think a lottery conception takes? What do you mean?
No, you just say that as a joke, just in case. Anyway, Searson, as you're standing up to go, Ayla grabs you by the, kind of like looks at you, and you hear his voice in your head. Care to explain the whole Leah thing?
What do you mean? She wasn't elected? There's nothing to worry about.
No, the proposal. Where did that come from?
Well, I thought she would have made a great enforcer, that's all.
He takes a look at her and looks back up at you. You mean the woman that tortured me and proceeded to bind me with cursed tattoos?
She enforces the mages of the Mages Guild, does she not?
Yes.
And she would have made a great enforcer, regardless of what she has done.
He nods and he looks forward. All right, understandable then. Enjoy your vacation.
Hey.
He looks back up at you.
We're going to enjoy that vacation together, right?
He pauses for a moment. I assume that the vacation was for the Lions of Leowyn.
Then what are you going to do? Are you not a part of this?
Well, I was assuming that I'd have to help this rat. He then pauses for a moment. As he realizes, I have a simulacrum. I can cast simulacrum. Give me 10 minutes, he says. He basically says, I'll be out in 10.
Be out in 10, he says.
Nerul kind of stands up and walks over to you, and he says, and he kind of grabs you by the arm. Hey.
Hello. Glad to see you back in one piece of a mind.
Yeah. Look, I'll be staying in Leowyn for a little while, here and there.
That's very good to hear.
Mm.
Have you visited Ellison yet?
Oh my god, you and this. Are you trying to set us up or something? He says, looking at you.
I mean, hey, I'm just looking on the best interest of people here.
Ha ha. No, I haven't talked to her yet. Technically, this dinner is when she. Technically, I think this dinner is when she realized that I'm officially back. And you can see that she's glaring eyes in the back of his head. She's glaring at me right now, isn't she?
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you. What you did back there. Reminded me of who I was.
Of course. I do the same for anyone in this room.
Really, it means a lot, and he holds out his arm.
I take it.
Next time.
There's a lot that you're back.
Next time you have aid. Next time you need aid, just say my name, and I'll be there.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Nods. And then he will sigh for a moment, and then turn and walk right back to the table, sitting right down next to Allison.
I give him a thumbs up.
Oh my fucking god. Kaladin the matchmaker.
Yes, of course. What a wonderful wingman here.
Oh my god. Are you good now, Roxy?
Oh, right. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to tell Alar this thing.
Okay, good.
I just remembered, because I don't think I did that, right?
No, you haven't yet.
Yeah. We should say it for a later occasion, or just... Actually, I should probably just say it now,
yeah,
right?
tell him now.
Yeah. I tap Alar on the shoulder and
What's up? Did you look into the Did you look into the thing for me?
yes, and might want to come over to somewhere a little more private.
You then hear his voice in his head. What is it?
Well, I guess I'll just say this bluntly, or think this bluntly. Your magic that manipulates memory will always wear off, I found. And from that, Nebra was able to come back. And also, this means that, well, your original mission was, well, destined to fail.
And the fact that people are remembering now means that the wish spell that wiped me out from history is failing.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that eventually everyone on the continent will soon remember me.
Correct.
Then you hear him say out loud, "Shit."
Just one word for it, yes.
Thank you for the information, Kaladin. I'll be sure to send you. I'll be sure to send you your payment on your vacation.
Well, thank you. If you need anything else, Found out, just ask.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think who else? Whitney.
Wait.
Thrin, you see Thrin kind of like comes over to you and says, I know that you were only one of several, but thanks for the whole letting Fenris be the one that takes me and everything thing. Make sure to spread that.
Voting what?
Thanks for voting to let Fenris be the one to watch over me, quote unquote. Be sure to relay that thanks to the rest of the party.
It's no problem.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy your vacation, I suppose. So I'll have to enjoy my years of training now.
You'll come back stronger.
Yeah, I'll try to. And
I will miss you.
Same here. He says with a bit of a weary smile. He then will walk over to Dranmers, who's waiting for him at the door. The two of them seem to talk as they head out. And Loom.
Yes.
As you're headed out, Zarn will catch you and basically pull you off to the side while he's pulling you off to the side, and he says, looks like you'll be doing part of your dad's job now.
I'll do my best to uphold what I think would be his intention for me in this circumstance, but as of now, I'm not entirely sure of the correct proceedings, but I will do my best to acquire them as I proceed into the future. So any guidance would be appreciated, but I will do my best to follow what I have been taught by both my father, mother, and the stories of each of you. Though, Zarn, it will be more of the experiences we build going forward, because to be frank, I don't know that much about you. And then Dion would walk by and like give a nod, but say like, look forward to hanging out more in the future though.
Same. And Kid.
Yeah. Yep.
You keep bottling that up. He basically says it only for you. He speaks in Celestial, which is Celestial directly to you. You keep bottling that up, and it's gonna explode. And trust me, when an ASMR explodes, it's not pretty. If you want to keep that shiny little halo above your head, you're gonna have to let it out eventually.
All things can be utilized for the benefit of the greater good, even explosions. And then turns on.
Yeah, until they hit the people you didn't mean for them to, and then he walks off towards the table. And that's what I'm gonna call a session.
Very nice.